I'm a teenager, female, and we had a discussion about this a week ago. English is not my first language, so sorry for any mistakes. My mom has been a single mom for 8 years now. She works very hard to give me a good life, and I love and appreciate her very much. I never thought about this topic before until yesterday. My mom and I were with relatives when she asked me a question like, "Are you going to take care of me when I get older? Like bathing me, cleaning me?" My grandmother, who lives with us, regularly has accidents and needs help cleaning herself. I hesitated at that question, and they took it badly. My mom seemed hurt, and when I explained why I hesitated, she said that I didn't love her. I honestly thought it was common sense that children aren't obligated to bathe and clean their parents. Yes, I love her very much, but I also have my own dreams too. Here are the reasons I listed. 1. My life plan is to move out of the country I currently live in, study at my dream university, and build a life outside of my country, away from any relatives or family. And no, I already know I'm not coming back here, for reasons that are too long to discuss. 2. She basically asked me if I would be willing to clean her when she has accidents, and the answer is no. I physically can't do that, and I hope the reasons for this one are obvious. 3. I'm not working hard in school to put my life on hold later, give up on my dreams, and just take care of someone because they make me feel obligated. It also doesn't mean I don't love them just because I can't clean them when they have accidents. 4. I have watched my mom take care of her own mom and grandmother, and let me tell you, it was extremely difficult for me. Both of them have issues that make me want to move out of this house as quickly as possible. It's practically my biggest dream. I see my mom being controlled by them and putting her own life on hold. I don't want to do that, and I have no plans to do so. Watching this happen in front of my eyes has taught me a valuable lesson. Of course, I plan to take care of my mom financially. That's the least I can do for her. But cleaning her when she has accidents is one responsibility I'm not going to take on. Am I the a-hole? Now, for a few comments before the update. Comment 1. I told my mom 15 years ago I was not taking care of her at any point in her life, and she would go to an assisted living facility before I took care of her. She has plenty of money to pay for it, and she doesn't appreciate the help. I did help when she broke her leg about 8 years ago. I traveled 5 hours to pick her up and 5 hours back to my home so my sister, who is an RN, could get a break from her. I completely cleaned out my sewing studio and created a room for her. Although I had a 1/4 bath downstairs, I had to help her up a flight of stairs to get her in a shower. She was demanding, judgmental, and downright unappreciative of what I was doing for her. After a week I took her back BC, I was done with her. A few years later, I moved 1,000 miles away, bought a home with a casita, mother-in-law suite. She says, "Oh, good, I can move in with you when I can't take care of myself." I told her, "The hell you are. You don't even want to live in this state, and I don't want you here." I don't even want her to visit BC. My house is my safe space, and I don't want it filled with memories of how poorly my mother would treat me. You have no obligation to care for your aging parents. Comment 2. Not the idiot. You are so young, and it is not okay for your mom to have asked you that, IMO. It seems inappropriate to me. It's extremely uncalled for her to say you don't love her. That's a form of manipulation, whether or not she intends it to be. I'm sure you love her. You can love a parent and not be their caregiver when they're old and need 24-hour care. I watched my grandma care for her mother, who had Alzheimer's, and it took a toll on her. She seemed like a different person after that. As you know, it is too much for one person. While the elderly are similar to infants, they're not the same and come with their own challenges, many of which are harder than a toddler. It is okay to be free to live your life. It's unfair for you to have this put on your shoulders right now. Future tripping isn't good. I'm sure you won't let your mom waste away without proper care. You can love her and provide good care for her without you being her sole caregiver. It's okay to focus on your dreams. Comment 3. Not the idiot. I know what it's like to have to care for an unwell parent, and it's incredibly draining. Caretaking is exhausting even for professionals. But at least they generally get to choose to go into that kind of career, whereas you're facing more of a having it thrust upon you type of approach. Parents need to understand that unless their child is okay with taking on the role of caretaker and can handle the amount of assistance the parent needs, they will likely require a home health aide or have to go into some kind of assisted living facility. Expecting you to wait on her hand and foot and not pursue your own life comes across as rather selfish on her part. She made the decision to have kids, and raising you and taking care of you was something she agreed to do the moment she became your parent. But you aren't obligated to take care of any of her future physical needs. Not to mention, she threw a "you don't love me" card that reeks of manipulation and entitlement. Now for the update. So buckle up, folks. It's been a wild 2 weeks. First things first, my mother found my original post. A friend of mine who didn't know our situation shared it with her. She recognized the details and, understandably, was upset. She confronted me about it the next day, demanding to know why I'd aired our personal issues to the internet. I explained that I was trying to get a feel for whether my feelings were reasonable. She didn't take it well. We had a massive argument, and in the heat of it, she revealed something that shook me to my core. Apparently, my mother had been keeping a huge secret from me. I have an older half-brother. She'd given him up for adoption when she was a teenager. She'd never told anyone, not even my father, about him. She said she'd found him recently and had been talking to him. They'd become quite close, and he'd offered to help take care of her in her old age. She'd put the question to me out of fairness, but she had had a backup plan all along. I was shocked, to say the least. I didn't know how to react, so I just packed my bag and spent a few nights at a friend's house to let things cool down. After a few days, I returned home and we had another talk. This time it was calmer. She apologized for not telling me about my half-brother sooner, but she explained that she had wanted to protect me from the messy reality of her past. I understood, but I still felt betrayed. We agreed to take some time to process the situation separately. Fast forward to a few days ago. My half-brother, let's call him Alex, flew out to meet us. It was a surreal experience. I was meeting a stranger who was also my family. Despite the weirdness, it actually went well. Alex is kind and understanding, and he didn't seem to hold any resentment towards our mother for giving him up. He's also financially stable and willing to help Mom when she'll need it, which takes a massive weight off my shoulders. So, that's where we stand now. Mom and I still have a lot to work through, but we're getting there. I still plan to move out of the country and pursue my dreams, but I feel less guilty about it now. Things are far from perfect, but they're better. I'm not sure what the future holds, but one thing is clear. Life has a way of throwing curveballs at you when you least expect it. Now, for the comments. 1. Not the idiot. Your mother invaded your privacy by snooping on your online posts. It's essential to have a personal space where you can freely express your thoughts and feelings. Although the revelation about your half-brother was unexpected, it seems like it has ultimately brought some positivity into your life. It's great that you're able to pursue your dreams without feeling guilty, but it's also important to have a conversation with your mother about boundaries. 2. Info needed. While it's evident that your mother overstepped her boundaries by reading your personal posts, it's also important to understand why she did it. Was she concerned about your well-being, or was it just a blatant disregard for your privacy? On the other hand, it's good that Alex has come into the picture and seems supportive. It might help to alleviate some of the pressures you've been feeling. 3. You're the idiot, but only slightly. Your mother was wrong to invade your privacy, but it's also crucial to remember that she is human and can make mistakes. It sounds like she was carrying a heavy secret about Alex, and maybe she was looking for some support just like you were. That doesn't excuse her actions, but it adds some context. It's great that Alex is willing to help, and you feel less guilty about pursuing your dreams. But maybe it's time to have an open, honest conversation with your mother about your feelings and expectations. Now, for the next story. I married my white husband almost 6 years ago. Around the time we got together, his little sister got together with some guy. Fast forward to them breaking up, he called me a racial slur. That ended any type of cordial relationship that my husband and I had with him, and also created a strain on us even wanting to be around his family, even the family members that we do like. Originally, his sister was defending me and said that she could never be with someone like that, and then she eventually got back together with him. Then, she tried to turn it around and defend him along with my mother-in-law. He was young when he said it. He was 18. He didn't mean it, etc. Now they're engaged, and my mother-in-law is pushing for us to go to the wedding. She's also pushing for them both to have a relationship with our 3-year-old and soon-to-be newborn. I wouldn't mind my sister-in-law having a genuine relationship and interacting with my kids, but definitely not her discriminatory husband. If he was willing to call me that, what is he going to say about my mixed kids? I also don't really care to go to their wedding. Why should I spend my free time celebrating a union that I don't support, nor care about? My husband doesn't care to go either, but we said that if we did go, it would only be to see the family that we do care about. My husband also made it a point to say that he doesn't know if he would be able to be around the sister's soon-to-be husband and not do something for the way he spoke about me. Edit. He has not apologized nor attempted to apologize to me. He told my sister-in-law that he was sorry, but he said he didn't want to speak to me directly because he was scared. Edit #2. It seems like quite a few people are under the impression that I'm way older than my brother-in-law. Surprise, I'm only 2 years older than him. I got married at 20. So if you want to be technical, I was just a kid too when he called me the slur. The reason my husband never confronted him is because my sister-in-law actually told us what he said after the fact, and we live out of state due to the military. My husband has only seen him maybe twice since then, and my brother-in-law has always gone out of his way to disappear because he is also afraid of my husband. Rightly so. Now, for a few comments before the update. Comment 1. There is no way in hell I would attend the wedding of anyone who called me, or my spouse, the N-word. There is no way in hell I would entertain the possibility of having any kind of relationship with such a person, and there is no way in hell I would have a relationship with anyone who tried to excuse or justify their racism. I would not allow them anywhere near my kids either. Anyone who tolerates discriminatory language and behavior in others is themselves discriminatory. Your sister-in-law and your mother-in-law fall squarely into that camp. It's like the saying, if you have one extremist sitting at a table and 10 other people sitting and talking to him, you have 11 Nazis. Your husband needs to 1000% have your back on this. He has no business attending that wedding. And he needs to put his sister on notice that if her new husband ever so much as gives you side-eye, he's going to deeply regret doing so. This is a hill to die on. Comment 2. Not the idiot. Abso-fucking-lutely no way I'd go to that wedding. Tell your mother-in-law no thanks, you've got a Klan meeting to go to on that day, or a Black Panthers meeting. Whichever you think would be best likely to be taken as a polite, fuck you and the discriminatory horse your daughter rode in on. Beyond that, if he's a grown man now, he needs to act like it and make his own damned amends. Otherwise, that's not remorse. That's damage control. Comment 3. Not the idiot, OP. You get to avoid racists and keep them from your family all day, every day. I'm not sure how you can allow sister-in-law to connect with your family and not her husband, so she might need to be cut off too, but maybe just for a while. I think she's going to live to regret taking that loser back. When they're no longer together, you can think about sister-in-law as family again, maybe. Now for the update. So the weirdest thing happened. Sister-in-law's now fiancé, the ex-boyfriend from the previous post, decided to join an amateur wrestling club of all things. He's now going by a wrestling name that's a crude play on an ethnic slur. I wish I were making this up. The wrestling club is local, and the matches are often streamed online, so word got around pretty quickly. It's caused a massive rift in the family. Even my mother-in-law, who usually never gets involved in any drama, called sister-in-law out on it. Despite this, sister-in-law remains supportive of her fiancé and his change of career. She even started selling merchandise with his wrestling name on it. The situation escalated when sister-in-law sent us one of his wrestling t-shirts for my oldest to wear. I was livid, to say the least, and immediately threw it in the trash. My husband, who has been mostly silent on the matter, finally lost his patience. He called his sister and expressed his disappointment, even going as far as asking sister-in-law to reconsider marrying her fiancé. Sister-in-law responded by accusing my husband of being jealous and not being supportive of her decisions. The rest of the family is as split as we are. Some have chosen to distance themselves from sister-in-law and her fiancé, while others, especially some of the older folks, have taken the stance of, "It's just a joke, lighten up." I've decided to completely cut off any contact with sister-in-law and her fiancé for the sake of my sanity and my children's well-being. My children are too young to understand why we're suddenly not talking to Auntie anymore, but they will understand when they are older. Despite the tension and the drama, I feel a lot calmer knowing that I've made a stand for my children and myself. We will not be part of any situation where racism is being normalized or glamorized. I understand that it's a tough decision to make, but as long as sister-in-law chooses to be with someone who openly exhibits discriminatory behaviors, we have no choice but to distance ourselves from them. Now, for the comments. Not the idiot. It's important to take a stand against racism, especially within your own family. If your sister-in-law's fiancé doesn't see the issue with using an ethnic slur as a wrestling name, then he clearly lacks both empathy and understanding. Cutting off contact might be the wake-up call they both need, not the idiot. Sounds like you're doing what's necessary to protect your own principles and mental health. With situations like these, it's always a tough call, but it's clear that the fiancé's actions are perpetuating harmful stereotypes, and that's not something you want to be associated with. Not the idiot. It's concerning that some of your family members are willing to write this off as a joke. Racism is not humor. It's harmful and offensive. Standing your ground is a tough but necessary decision. It's also a good lesson about the consequences of tolerating racism. Now, for the next story. My husband constantly compares me to his best friend at work and says things like, "Yeah, well, best friend's name doesn't do that," or, "Well, best friend's name would have done that this way." It's been a thing for years, and so today during an argument he said, "Yeah, well, best friend's name," and I have never gotten into a fight. And I yelled back at him, "Yeah, well, I'm sorry. Best friend's name isn't a woman, because your life would be complete, wouldn't it?" And now I'm the AH. He told me I should post about it in this thread to prove I'm the AH. So am I the idiot? Now for a few comments before the update. Comment 1. Not the idiot. I'm a guy and your husband is unquestionably the jerk for 1. Comparing you to anyone, and 2. For invoking his best friend's name into an argument he's having with his wife. He is both a terrible husband and a terrible friend. If he wants to say that he is surprised by your response to a given situation, he can make the same point without bringing his friend into it. But if he wants to be a good husband, what he will do is 1. Accept that people react differently to a given situation. 2. Start paying attention to how his wife reacts to situations. And 3. Adjust to his wife instead of telling her to start reacting like another person that she is not. He is a huge jerk, but he has hope because he's your husband, and you love him, and you are willing to give him a chance. Comment 2. Not the idiot, but let your husband know that he's an absolute AH, and I'm not the only person who thinks if he hasn't already, he's at least thought about screwing his best friend. To the husband, why the F do you think your comments to your wife are appropriate? Why the hell would she speak and act like your best friend? Get your priorities straight, dude. You come off as a pathetic loser. Comment 3. Hell no. Hey, hubby, maybe you should divorce your pathetic loser of a wife and marry that guy you love so much. Boy, you are no Chris Hemsworth. So don't let your wife start comparing you to every hot guy with every time you do the same to your boyfriend. But really, if you love the guy, save your wife her time and energy and let her go. Now for the update. So, things have taken a crazy turn, y'all. Following our argument, I decided that I needed some space and time to process everything. So I packed a bag and spent a couple of nights at my sister's place. Well, while I was away, I got a call from a number I didn't recognize. It was the wife of my husband's best friend. She said she found something that she thought I needed to see. We agreed to meet at a nearby park. Once we met up, she showed me texts she'd discovered between her husband and mine. They weren't just friendly banter. The text chain was overflowing with flirtatious exchanges, intimate conversations, and even plans for meetups that I had no knowledge of. I was completely floored. Apparently, she had suspected something was going on between them for a while, but didn't want to believe it. She thought they were just friends, but the texts proved otherwise. It seemed my husband and his best friend were, in fact, more than just best friends. After the initial shock, I confronted my husband about it. He looked like a deer caught in the headlights. After what felt like an eternity, he admitted to having an emotional affair with his friend. He said it started innocently, but gradually, they developed feelings for each other. He apologized and said he didn't mean to hurt me. So, here I am, in the middle of this mess, feeling a whirlwind of emotions. I'm angry, hurt, confused, and yet I feel oddly vindicated. All these years, I was beating myself up, thinking I was not good enough because I couldn't be like his best friend. But as it turns out, the problem wasn't with me, it was with him. Right now, we're still trying to figure things out. I don't know if our marriage can survive this. I don't know if I want it to. One thing is clear, though. I was not the one in the wrong here. Thank you all for your support and advice. It means more than you know in a time like this. Now, for the comments. 1. Not the idiot. Nobody deserves to be cheated on, emotionally or physically. While it's commendable that your spouse admitted to the emotional affair, the breach of trust is significant. It's good that you have support around you. It'll be a tough journey ahead, but remember to prioritize your own emotional well-being in this situation. 2. Not the idiot. It's good that you took some time for yourself after the argument. It gave you the needed space to process things. However, it's quite concerning that your spouse chose to confide intimately in another person rather than working through the issues with you. Open communication is key in any relationship, and it seems like that was lacking here. 3. Not the idiot. Emotional infidelity can be as damaging as physical infidelity. It's important to consider seeking professional help, such as marriage counseling, to navigate through this difficult period. It could provide both of you with the necessary tools to either rebuild your relationship or find closure. Remember, it's okay to feel hurt and confused right now. Your emotions are completely valid. If you liked this video, you'll probably like these too. Also, while you're here, please consider subscribing. It's your support that keeps this channel alive and allows me to make better and longer videos. Have a great day.